Hello there and welcome to the Bicycle Diaries, and welcome to a very cold, very wintry Hampshire. Normally the summer temperatures here in the UK are 25, 26, 27 degrees Celsius, sometimes even going up to 30, 35 degrees. But at the moment they're down to about 11 or 12 degrees. Now in November we don't get very cold here, but a typical November, December, January day could easily be 11, 12 degrees, which is exactly what we have now. And that doesn't make cycling very, very easy. Having said that though, I have been out for a couple of rides this week. The first one was on Wednesday when it was actually D-Day, which was the 75th anniversary of the Allied invasion of Normandy. And where I live, it's quite a special celebration because a lot of the boats sailed over from Portsmouth, which is only about 10 miles down the road. And then there's also the village of Southwark, where Eisenhower planned the invasion with Churchill and people like that. So for my ride on Wednesday, I rode through the village of Southwark and just tipped my hat to all of the Allies that went over and invaded Normandy and liberated Europe during the Second World War. The ride itself wasn't desperately long, it was only about 25 kilometres, but I did go up Southwark Hill, which is a very, very long, very hard climb at the top. And the last time I went up Southwark Hill must have been about 8 or 9 years ago. And it was quite an eye-opener. On the one hand, it was hard, but it wasn't quite as hard as I was imagining it was going to be. And in fact, there were certain sections on there where people have created segments, and I actually got a PR on one of those segments. So it was a very tough ride, but I'm really glad I did it. And it made me think that it could potentially be a ride that I do once a month to kind of just gauge how my fitness is going and how kind of lighter I might be on the bike after eating sensibly. The second ride I did this week was on my regular Bevis's Thumb ride. So it was out into the wilds of West Sussex, and when I left home the weather was about sort of 13, 14 degrees, so it wasn't amazingly warm, but at least it was dry and relatively sunny. And then I got to the top of the Bevis's Thumb climb, went over the other side and hit a wall of water and wind. It was absolutely horrendous. At one point I thought the wind was going to blow me off the bike, it was that strong. I had no choice but to just grit my teeth, push on and ride home, because unfortunately by that point I'd gone over the top of Bevis's Thumb and it was easier for me to carry on rather than just turn around, go back up the climb again and go down the other side. So I just carried on into the village of Westbourne, back home, and by the time I got back I was absolutely soaked through to the skin. Not the best of rides, but I'm fairly glad that I went out and I did it. As you can imagine, with only 2 rides under my belt, I'm not exactly setting Strava alight this week. But it has given me a bit of an opportunity to sit down and reflect on my cycling goals and what I would like to achieve over the next few months. And with this in mind, I've been kind of chatting over email with one of the very good chums of the channel, somebody called Nathan Woodruff, who lives in Norcross in Georgia. Basically, Nathan has just completed a challenge where he set himself to ride at least 20 miles every day for 365 days. And he's been kind of encouraging me to do the same. Now, unfortunately, due to my work commitments and stuff, I know that this is just not possible on a practical level, but I have been hearing something about the 30-day cycling challenge on social media, so I think that is something that sounds a lot more feasible for me. Essentially, I'm going to be away working next week, so I can't start it until I return. But when I do, I think my plan is to be able to ride at least 25 kilometers every day for 30 days. And that's going to be come wind, come rain, come shine. So if it's too wet or too windy or too cold, I will have to resort to the turbo trainer indoors. But whenever I can, I will try and go out and ride actually on the road. So are you training for a particular cycling event? If you are, please tell me all about it in the comments below. If you found this film useful, please like and share. And if you'd like to get the most out of your cycling, please consider subscribing for my regular weekly uploads. Thanks for watching.